Move this man from the building.
A man like Robbie and Cecil from AFTV.
The Matata was bouncing.
Well, vibes up, man.
Go.
100% tariff for any Tottenham fans.
Welcome back to AFTV. It's the starting 11 shows, Liverpool versus Arsenal, and it's at Anfield. Of course, we hoped and kind of thought, I think, for a lot of the season that there might be more in this game. There isn't. But you know what? As it's crept up, as it's got closer and closer, I feel like I want to win this. I know there's not that kind of tangible, what does it mean, what does it lead to, but they're still our rivals. And I think we maybe do want to send a little bit of a message out for next season at the very least, while they're having their title parade and enjoying what is a deserved Premier League title. I'm here with Dan Potts and I'm here with Marty. Welcome to the live stream, guys. It's the starting 11 show, and in about 13 minutes we're going to know the 11. Now, there are rumours that Declan Rice isn't with the squad. I'm going to verify that, source it, and give everyone the appropriate credit, but that is what I've sort of seen on Twitter as well. I think some people in the WhatsApp group have been telling me that too. So we'll talk about that in a sec, but generally, Marty, we wanted there to be more on this. Anfield in May. And it looked, when they were leading the title race, well, maybe we're going to have that big day. But it's just not amounted to that whatsoever. Have you been able to kind of put that aside for now and just look forward to the game for what it is?
100%. I mean, thanks for having me, by the way.
No, not at all.
Great to be here. And so it is definitely about putting that aside. Listen, we're a professional outfit. There's 3 games of this Premier League left, and it's a high intense competition that, albeit disappointing losing in the Champions League, we all know that. We all know the league's done and dusted, and Liverpool have won it at a, absolute canter. But these 3 games are now for us as Arsenal Football Club to put in some serious results and show everyone that we mean business, to continue developing for next season. And it is about standards. Okay, it's not about just thinking there's nothing to play for here. Oh, we're just going to turn up and do nothing and roll over. That's not what we do. This is about standards. This is about delivering, and this is about putting on an amazing performance for the fans and giving us a game of football that we enjoy and want to watch. Turning up at Anfield is serious. Whether it's on a Tuesday night with absolutely freezing cold with nothing to play for, or whether it's Super Sunday in the Premier League. Albeit they've won it, big respect to them. They've done a great job in the league, and I don't think we've done enough. But I would really love Arsenal to go there. We'll give them their guard of honour with respect. They deserve it. They're entitled to it. Yeah. They've worked hard all season, and huge credit to a football club which, if I'm honest with you, I respect and I admire for their successes over the years. They've got a fantastic stadium. They've got a fantastic fan base. But this is today where we go and we piss on their parade. Literally.
I mean, listen, it's about all we can do, because quite frankly, they've got the trophy, Dan. They're going to have their summer of enjoying it, and rightly so, they deserve it. I think we agree with every word said there. But is that what Arsenal need to do? The respectful thing, which is the parade, but then actually try and come out with a bit of a, yeah, you got the title, fair play to you, we're gutted we didn't, but don't forget that we're a good team and we want to come back next year and try to take it off you.
Yeah, I think there's an element of that. I think there's an element of the season being over, and I think Liverpool could be probably more entitled to be on the beach than us, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think we still have got something to play for, in inverted commas. Whether or not you get excited about top 4 races or not, that's by the by. We are in one, whether we want to be in one or not. Yeah. And I do feel like the message needs to be sent that we're still good enough and we're still there to cause them problems. And I think that if we want to be the kind of runners-up to this league again, then we've got to go and prove that we can beat the champions, who are now, confirmed champions. So,
does it matter to you if we're runners-up, Dan?
It doesn't to me, but then again, some people see me as a bit of a negative Nigel, so maybe it does matter. Look, essentially, we've not won, so I don't really care if we come second, third, or fourth, to be honest, or fifth now, I suppose.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it won't reflect on the season.
It won't. Yeah, I won't remember and go, do you remember that 2025 season where we come second? To opposed to that 2025 where we come fourth. Yeah. It won't really bother me, if I'm honest. However, I do think that if you said to me now, where would you like Arsenal to finish, and they can't finish first, well, of course I want to come second, right? But I don't think it's a massive must, and it must be runners up, because let's be real. I've seen regression enough, James, for it to be disappointing. Yeah, agreed. It would be frustrating even more if we were to come third, fourth or fifth, but I will say I don't think it would actually matter at a great scheme of things. I think a lot of us will be more pissed off and be like, wow, we've actually let Newcastle get ahead of us as well now, or City, whoever it be, or maybe even both of them, because the next 2 games are going to be tough. Anfield and Newcastle we haven't beat. They've won again today. And we see yesterday that Southampton can cause an upset. So it's not really a nice end to the season, mate, of already being pretty down and out. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, that's how I feel. I think when you're used to fighting for top four in Champions League football, I think to try and nick a second place over a third or fourth feels good. It feels great to go, well, no, we're climbing above all these others. But when the expectation was challenging for the title, and by, I call it mid-Feb, we kind of knew that was done. I think the weekend we lost to West Ham and they won at City, that was it for me. To have played almost 3 months of football with it basically meaning nothing in the Premier League, not nothing, but so little compared to what we wanted it to mean. The thought of it kind of ending with well, it could be second over the third. I agree on the standards. I don't agree from a excitement perspective, and there's no drive from the fans to make that happen. I think that's got to come from the players, and we go, right, second, thanks very much, on we go.
Do you not think, just quickly, what a difference a year makes? Because in 2024, our record was unbelievable. We lost to Villa and that was it. We've had a shambles of a record in 2025, particularly in the Premier League. I know we've gone out of the Champions League as well, and we've seen us dumps out of every competition we've been in, which is obviously very frustrating. But at least last season we were out of everything. Our league form was like, this is exceptional. There's only Manchester City that look in the whole of Europe better than Arsenal right now. Yeah. And you go a year later and you think, we look a completely different outfit now. And the players aren't really that different. I know we've got injuries, but only really Gabriel is the only real missing piece.
That's the problem, though. The players aren't that different. I really believe you never stand still. And you know what? There's a slight misconception with Liverpool, because it's completely right that they never got new signings, but they did get a new manager. So new ideas, fresh ideas. And then and look at the scenes, man. I mean, and rightly so. They deserve it. They're driving in as Premier League champions, Liverpool. You can see it on our screens. And then he did little things like tweak Salah's role, made Gravenberch the starting six, give McAllister. Remember, people forget that McAllister was the starting six last season for them. Moved him up the pitch because of the goals he scored a little bit. He just tweaked a few bits here and there, and then they look revitalised. Whereas Arsenal, we've only just looked the same as last season in terms of the players, albeit Calafiori and Mourinho have come in. We've actually looked the same from just a tactical perspective. It's like we're kind of just doing the same things. I think it's all gone a bit stale. What do you make of that?
I think you're right. We've looked the same as well in how we've been similarly in competition. The only thing is, like Dan said, is our Premier League form at the end of this season, this last month or few, has not been good, and there's been far too many draws in there. But I do think that what there is there's 3 games left, and it's important to win those 3 games. And albeit, I think it's a fantastic point that Dan made about, this. I won't remember finishing second in 2025, but I certainly will remember if we go to Liverpool and stick 3 goals past them. I certainly will remember that.
I know what you mean.
It's fighting for pride, and it's okay. Listen, we haven't won the league, and we've been knocked out of the Champions League. We've been knocked out of the FA Cup. We've been knocked out of, we haven't won the Carabao Cup. All of that, all of the above. But for me, it is important to keep our heads held high, to remain classy, to give them their guard of honour, and then to go to Anfield. And okay, again, albeit this Liverpool team that went to Chelsea the other week, I remember watching Van Dijk score that goal. He just sort of casually headed it in and just wheeled off with like some lacklustre celebration. Like they are on the beach. They're not going to be 100% of the races, but going to Anfield and beating Liverpool at any time is special, and I will always remember it. And I think this could be the perfect opportunity, because we've had a bit of a hoodoo, like going to Anfield. It's been a very tough place for us statistically over years. It's been that like mind block, that mental block that we just, like this losing to Villa we're talking about. These certain teams that just, in certain situations, these clutch situations, and I'm not saying this is that, but today for me is about overcoming mental blocks and going to Anfield and putting this performance on, so that then next season when this game, rears its head, at least in the back of the players' heads, they'll be thinking, well, we've done it last season, so we can do it again. And that could be, these games could be the difference. And then without going too far ahead, you've got obviously the Newcastle game coming up, and the Southampton, like you said with Southampton, they cause Man City problems. Now, we're not Man City, and this Southampton side, I want to go and see Arsenal smash 6 goals past them. That's what I want. And the Newcastle team, this is a team that have beaten us this season, knocked us out over 2 legs in the Carabao Cup. I want that team beaten as well. I want these last 3 teams to be put to the sword. I really do, for pride.
Well, I'm hoping Mikel Arteta's sending the same message. Can the players bring that out of them after what's been a disappointing campaign? I mean, let's see. It would be very Arsenal to turn up and win the last 3 when nothing matters. But at the same time, it is quite literally the champions at Anfield we're discussing here. The half-time scores at the moment, Man United are 1-0 down at home to West Ham, and Tottenham 1-0 down at home to Palace. Forest are drawing 1-1 with Leicester City. I mean, United and Tottenham in a final together. It's just like... and I can't begrudge it. They've done their thing in the Europa League, but 16th and 17th in the league are currently in a European final against each other.
And both losing again.
Always going to happen.
Always going to happen.
But this is the funny thing about football. 16th and 17th is beyond a disgrace for these two teams. Beyond a disgrace.
Mate, it's ridiculous.
It is utterly
not acceptable.
Unacceptable. But they could end with a trophy. I mean, isn't football funny? Do you know what I mean? I don't.
With that, it's a great point, James. And there was this discussion about trophies and levels of trophies. It's like go and get in with the bird that you're not quite happy with because that one that you want is like, because she's out of your league. That to me is.
I get the analogy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're probably looking at us thinking you lot are just at home. Just. Let's not just just chilling out on your ones or whatever. But I mean, look, I just think, the silverware. It's like you said, silverware. Unfortunately, is so defining.
I think that just shows how bad Europe is. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like the quality. How can these two teams at 16th and 17th be in a final? You know what I mean? And I know that your Champions League teams haven't dropped down. I get that, and it's very bloody obvious that they haven't by the looks of it, right? But you think, how the hell are these two got ahead of the out? Like, I looked at that. Probably in the quarter-final stages, and I had Lazio versus Bilbao as the final. That was what I had in my head. I will say I had Real Madrid-Barcelona El Clasico final with the Champions League, and I was wrong there as well, right? But when I look at it, I think at least Real Madrid and Barcelona are a top elite quality side you could have a bit of a go with. Lazio and Bilbao likewise. Manchester United and Tottenham could end up not just winning one trophy, but potentially going for 2 because they'll have a Super Cup as well. That is a shambles. That is nothing short of disgraceful.
As well, I'm sorry, and this is no disrespect, but Tottenham going to Bodo Glimt in the semi-final, and I just at that level of competition, I would expect a team with a bigger stadium and a better quality team to play. We've just been knocked out to PSG in a raucous atmosphere in a great stadium. And it was a tough game, and PSG were fantastic. They were, Luis Enrique set them out absolutely amazingly. They've got great players in every area of the pitch, and they can bring on players and they can hurt you. I just didn't see that level of quality, like even in the Manchester United game when their keeper comes out in the 91st minute, basically passes the ball to Mason Mount, he chips it over the goalkeeper. It was just kind of... The levels are different, but albeit fair play to them. One of those teams is going to have a trophy. I'm not too bothered on them moving forward. They can do what they've got to do. We know where we are in the league, and we know what we've got to do ready for next season.
We're going to have the 11 in 1 minute or so, but the rumours are out that Declan Rice isn't going to start or play. Oh, okay. It's coming from Team News and Ticks apparently. No Rice. White should come in for Timber. Marina drops into midfield and Trossard will play up front. I suppose that is to be expected. So we can imagine then the 11 will be, we'll have it in a sec. So let's just give it the exact 11 in the next minute or so. But White coming in for Timber, I guess, makes sense. Well, Ben White needs to play some football. I think it's a big pre-season for him coming up.
Yeah, massively. If I'm honest with you, bro, there's a few I don't want to see today, if I'm honest. And a lot of people have said to me, like, we've got to win this game and we're going to go strong and all that. But I genuinely am not surprised Declan Rice is rested, inverted commas, I guess, unless he's injured. The guy's played unbelievable amount of football. Jurriën Timber I don't want to see today because he's played an unbelievable amount of football off the back of an ACL. And if I'm honest with you, I know he scored the other night and I know that, he missed a sitter, but I'm not too annoyed if we don't see Bukayo Saka either and we start using him a bit more as a bench player because the guy has been rushed back. Go on.
He is playing.
Surprise.
It is Raya in goal. White, Saliba, Kivior, Lewis Skelly. So yeah, White comes in for Timber. Partey, Marina, Erdegaard's the midfield through Saka, Martinelli and Trossard. So he's gone full strength with every intention, I imagine, to just maintain a certain standard for the end of this season. And knowing Arteta, he probably doesn't want to lose a grip of second place. Although
is Rice in an injury then? Do we think, or is it just a drop?
I think it's a rest. I think it's probably they'll say he's got a knock. They'll say all that kind of stuff to just because if we lose, if we get battered and Declan Rice was just rested, people will be rightly asking, well, why are you not playing your best players? It's still Anfield, so they'll have a sort of injury-related excuse, I imagine. I mean, any other surprise? I thought Calafiori might play only because Lewis Skelly's played a lot of football. Could we see Calafiori at centre back because Kivior could leave this summer? I thought they might try something there. But otherwise, the bench of Neto, Tierney, Timber, Zinchenko, Sterling, Calafiori, Bala Oyadeji, and then who's that behind?
Waneri, surely.
Waneri, but I can't. Oh, it's really annoying. I've got to. Okay, Henry Francis, Sterling. There we go. That's the rest of the bench. So, no Jorginho. Wow. So Jorginho, what was he on the bench for PSG? Was that just to play a coach role?
I think it was probably, if I'm honest, to try and give. I mean, a
boost.
He's clearly not 100% fit, was he? It's something to do with his ribs, I'm hearing.
Yeah.
That's a horrible injury. That's just a real niggly, horrible injury that won't go away.
Breathing.
Not much you can do about it, is there? When you like you say, you get those injuries, but. I'll be interested to see what happens to Ethan Waneri today because I believe he needs more minutes now. I don't know why we're not giving this guy more of a chance. I think when we started to see him, it was a reason as to why we understood why we were starting to see him. I think Arteta came out and said that he'd made a mistake not playing him earlier when Ødegaard was injured in the early parts of the season. I think today it will be interesting because he needs a good game, Ødegaard. I'm sick and tired of us carrying him. Yeah. He looks absolutely dreadful at the moment, James. But sorry, I know you want to bring up the teams.
No, I agree. The Liverpool 11, Alisson in goal, and it looks like it's Bradley at right back with Konate, Van Dijk and Robertson as the back four. Jones, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch as the midfield three, so plenty of energy and power in there. Salah, Gakpo and Diaz as the front three. So they're not really messing around. Trent Alexander-Arnold's on the bench. They've still got one more game at Anfield where they'll lift the trophy, so I imagine this was more... Well, they're probably trying to get used to life without Trent now, and
Trent won't play now, will he? Let's be real. I don't think Trent will play again for Liverpool. I think
he won't start.
No, well, I think he's come out and made it clear he's off, and I don't think the fans are too happy. Well, not all of them, but the majority of fans are not happy with that, are they? And I think what's going to happen now is he'll get probably his parade, and that will be it, and his last sort of lift. But that's the strongest side other than Trent. Let's be real.
Real Madrid are trying to get him signed up in time for early. The Club World Cup. What do you think of that? I mean, it raised a question I hadn't even considered. I mean, what are the rules? Is the Club World Cup a part of this season? Is it a part of? Is it the kickoff to next season? Like, it sounds so stupid. Do they wear next season's new kits? Can signings be registered in time for it? Can is Trent Alexander-Arnold technically a Liverpool player through that period? Because I think it crosses over the start of July, which is when... So
isn't it that the window opens, then it shuts, then that plays, then it reopens? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, you are right, yeah.
So it must be a part of new season then, surely.
It's got to be.
If the window's open, if the window's open, then it's part of the new season, isn't it? The window opens essentially for next season.
They should honestly just run this tournament like a week after the Champions League finishes or something. Just attach it to the back of this one. Or actually, no, they shouldn't. They should make it, because people treat it like pre-season. But they should play it in pre-season, so it's they're still, teams are still playing football, but obviously with a little bit more weight behind it. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. We're not in it, so why do we care? I'd like to be one day though. That might be fun. Cool. So that's the Liverpool 11, guys. There's not too much more to say around the game. I mean, Declan Rice being rested, which makes sense. I want to get both your takes on Martin Zubimendi in the news yesterday. That was confirmed that he's joining Arsenal. I mean, I think got to give huge credit to Sammy Mockbell. He came in big with that story in January. I know we all wanted a striker, but he said Zubimendi is set to sign. It was pretty strong. A lot of journalists came in after, but not quite as definitive as that. They said it's looking like he's going to join, but we don't quite know yet. Anyway, Fabrizio Romano gave it the here we go, which is, I mean, that's scientific facts as far as I'm aware. When Romano gives it that, then it's done. What would you think, Dan? I'll come to you first. What do you make of the Zubimendi signing? And if we just forget the season, I know it's hard to, but if we just forget the season and talk about the signing in isolation.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like the signing. I like the player. I don't know an awful lot about him in comparison to Thomas Partey. I don't know if he's better than Thomas Partey. I've got to be real with you. I think Thomas Partey is going to be a huge question mark now. Jorginho looks to be off. I think that's going to be a serious one. What do we do with Thomas Partey? Zubimendi, I think we all know that he is actually a position of a 6, so it's not like he can play in 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I think that's really important because Arsenal have got far too many versatile players. I would like us to just go and buy someone who plays as a centre back, as a defensive midfielder, as a striker. Because as much as I like versatility, I don't think it needs to be every single player. Yeah. I think Arsenal have got too many of those, in fact. Look, I think he's got experience. He's not like he's buying a 20-year-old. He's not a project player. He's a player who's ready now, 26 years old, Spanish international. And I think for our Sociedad, he's been probably one of the most influential players from what we hear. So I think it's good. And it's good signing in terms of doing it quick, release clause, around 55 million, I believe. And you're right, it was reported in January, and I kind of poo-pooed it, if I'm honest, because I just thought, who cares? We've got a Champions League to win and a Premier League to win at the time. And I poo-pooed it because I get annoyed with that kind of thing. Oh, we're going to sign so-and-so. And Sammy Mockbell and David Ornstein have got a lot wrong. Let's remember, they've also got a lot right. And when Fabrizio Romano says, here we go, it's pretty much done, isn't it? Like you say. So I'm happy with it, James. I hope he comes in and does well. I think Mikel Arteta has definitely had a lot to do with this signing, though. Because Berta coming in might have got it across the line. But I don't think that it was him who spotted him, because we've been linked with this guy for a long time. Yeah,
completely agree. Definitely a long-term target. I remember we wanted him about 2-3 years ago. Genuinely 2-3 years ago. Yeah. But he wanted to take his time at Real Sociedad. Of course, rejected a move to Liverpool. I think Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. Lots of clubs came in. Real Madrid actually maybe didn't. I think they were thinking about it, but in the end didn't. What do you make of the signing?
I think it's fantastic in the way that we are getting business done lively. That is exactly what every Arsenal fan needed after Wednesday night. Right, we know where we've gone wrong. We are starting to sign players. That is what we need. We know that we need reinforcements, and I don't want to see this, in years gone by when we've waited till transfer deadline day to get the signs in. I want the players in quick, so they can have a great pre-season, so they can integrate and they can get in and around the squad. So when the season starts, we hit the ground running. Now, what you're getting with Zubimendi, he's a fantastic, versatile player that will pick the ball up, and before he picks the ball up, he'll pick out a pass. He can go past players, he can tackle, he can dribble, and he's very technically aware. He plays very well in front of the back four, and he gives us that fluidity about being able to move the ball around with ease. He can slow the tempo of the game down. He has all the attributes that we need. Different player to Thomas Partey, but Thomas Partey can sometimes be very much get the ball, just move it forward. Yeah. Sometimes you've got to put your foot on games and you've got to control the pace of how it's going. He's more similar to Jorginho, but I think we'll see what his technical ability is like. It's like Mikel Arteta's trying to get the Spain national team into the front. From the defence is what it is. The David Raya in goal, and then the front lot is, if we bring in Williams, it's bar a striker. It's
he's building the Real Sociedad midfield, isn't he?
And that it's all the boys with Odegaard and Marino. They've all played together, so they know each other, and that was obviously probably helped the deal to go well, because he's in and around good company. And I listen, I really like the signing. I really do. I'd like to see Partey get another year at least, maybe another 2 years, because I think he's got something to offer. And unless we're going to bring in another midfielder, but a few more additions, and that's what we bring in, a striker and we bring in a winger, and these are the additions that I want to see.
I find it incredible. We don't have a single striker that we genuinely, as an Arsenal fan base, absolutely love and can get behind. Yet at the same time, we've got with Zubimendi, Rice, and Partey, and I think this was true when we had Jorginho instead of Zubimendi too. We've got the best set of number sixes in world football. Yeah, big deadly set. It's so weird. And then you go to defenders, Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, White, Timber, Calafiori, Lewis Skelly, even Kivior's come in and looked brilliant. You've got all these players. We've had 7 goalkeepers. I did rate probably 2 or 3 of them. Even Bernd Leno's doing well at Fulham now. Yet the striker position, do you know what I mean? There's certain areas we are so
chalk and cheese, isn't it?
It's so interesting,
bizarre,
isn't it?
We've left it that short, and I think that's why everyone's screaming out for a couple of attackers in the summer. And I think if we don't do that, there'll be a lot of fans that lose confidence, I think. And I think the reassurance will be that we bring in a Gyökeres that we all know is going to start up top, a winger that we all happy with, or at least see potential in, that can come in and do the job. And I think that's going to be massively key, because I'm a big fan of Andrea Berta and what he did at Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, you were really keen for him to be the guy even before he was linked, weren't you?
Massively. I mean, when I looked at the names, I was like, I would take him, but I would probably be questioning the majority of the others. Yeah. Other than maybe Roberto Alabi, who's obviously done well at Sociedad. Yeah. But, I think this is a fantastic appointment. And I'll say it, I think it's the best appointment in the Kroenke reign. Yeah. Now, I know he hasn't done anything yet, and he's got to prove that, so I have to eat my words if it doesn't happen. But I do like what he has done before, and if he can replicate that, then I think we've got a good appointment there. And I think that is where we have gone wrong. You know, a lot of people will say that we brought in fantastic players. We've also brought in some really bad ones.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
You know, and I think that we need to be aware of that. And look, he's going to get some misses because he did have Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, of course,
right?
yeah.
But I think when you look at the ones that perhaps didn't work out, even if they were really expensive, you could at least see why he went from, like João Felix.
Yeah,
it wasn't like nobody was going, what the
Yeah.
hell have they bought him for?
Yeah.
Everyone was like, crikey, he's only one of the best
And he's
players in
picked
the
up
world.
40 million for him since, so it's not like it's, you know.
Exactly that, James. So I'm a big fan of the business that he's done, and I think if you can go and work alongside Diego Simeone, you're obviously a good lad. So let's hope he does well.
That's true. I got to say, in what's
Spurs
been
are 2-0 down, by the way.
Yeah, I saw Eze. I mean, anyway, I can't even say anything. They might win the Europa League, but I mean, I'd much rather United won a third trophy in 3 years, quite frankly. But
Same.
There we go. You know, it's been a calamitous season, and I saw Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher kind of talking about, you know, how much longer do our key players kind of give it at Arsenal without winning a trophy, blah, blah, blah. The one thing I would say, as down as I am about this season, and I've done plenty of content, you know, moaning and bitching about this season, but the one thing I'll say is, with the Andrea Berta appointment, let's say, with the Andrea Berta appointment, and Zubimendi's got done quite quickly, I do feel like there's an opportunity. This is the word, opportunity. There's an opportunity for something to feel like a bit of a reset in terms of, dare I say the word, the process. Yeah. Like it has felt like everything over the last 5 years has kind of culminated to this season, and then it's like, oh, what, all this for what we got? This doesn't. I can look at this summer as something a bit more fresh, as opposed to, right, we go again, it's Edu again, it's Arteta, and guess what, they want another left back, we want another goalkeeper. The links to the strikers, I'm hoping this summer will feel a bit different, but I use the word hoping there because I'm not necessarily expecting that my what's the word, my belief in the club has dwindled massively, but I'm still having hopes.
So I mean, I think we're in a really good position with this in one way, because for me, a number 9, like a goalkeeper, they're confidence players. I mean, you know, all players around the pitch need confidence, but especially for a number 9, they need to know that they're the guy, they're the main man. Now, there's not a lot of clubs, especially of this.
What
a goal! That was a great goal.
But did you see that Gibbs White cross?
I know,
that was unbelievable delivery.
Oh, we needed 10 people.
But the thing with that is, there's not a lot of clubs of our stature where a top class number 9 could walk into and be the main man, and that is an attractive proposition for that guy to come into Arsenal, whether it be Gyökeres, and he knows he's going to play, he knows he's going to be a starter, and I think that's huge. You know, your reference to the Carragher and Neville, you know, calamitous season, they're always gonna, you know, they've always got a bit of beef with Arsenal, you know, one being an ex-Liverpool and one being an ex-United player, and they always take any opportunity they can to absolutely slander and, you know, lambast Arsenal. So that's it. I wouldn't listen, to be honest. I listen to them. I think their football analysis is absolutely fantastic. But when it comes to Arsenal, there's always a slight agenda. And I don't think it's been calamitous. It hasn't been, you know, great. There has been progress in the way of Champions League. We have been the best team up until the latter stages, and we got knocked out to a fantastic PSG side. You know, there was progression. We haven't been in those latter stages of that tournament since 2009, before that 2006. So, you know, there is that. And when I've watched these European games, there have been some fantastic nights, which I will forever remember. Obviously, I'd remember lifting the trophy a lot more. But you know, I think we are in a perfect position to move on next year, add the players. It's fine margins, this game. When you get to this level, it's fine margins. It's not, you know, and we are there or thereabouts. And I'm you know, hoping after this big summer window, we're going to be there, and next season we're going to go and win. We're going to go. You know, I want to win the Premier League. I really do. That's the trophies and the Champions League. But
yeah, that can I just say, sorry, that Gibbs White cross, we don't have that in the team. We don't have it from right back. We don't have it from right wing. We don't have it from central midfield.
Declan Rice can put them balls in.
Absolutely, but he's always shifted to the left side of the pitch. I mean very specifically that cross, right foot in the half space, whip to the back post. It's almost impossible to defend, because what can a defender really do? You know, if you've got the wrong side of the defender, as Wood did there, it is so difficult. Kevin De Bruyne made it became his trademark cross, didn't it? That sort of in that space. Oh, this guy's in.
I agree. I agree.
This guy's in big trouble.
Look, I think we need another creative midfielder at the club. I don't think that's a massive secret. I know Ethan Nwaneri's great coming through, and I'm a fan of Ødegaard when he's on fire, but at the moment he's had a poor season. I think when we look at what Ødegaard might be, it might be that he isn't a 10. And it might be that he's the guy before the guy. It might be that he's the Bernardo, not the KDB. And it might be that if we put him at the left 8, actually we go and get a 10. Maybe put Rice in the 6, or of course now Zubimendi. That could be an option for us. But I genuinely believe Arteta believes he is the 10. I genuinely think he sees Zubimendi as the 6. And I genuinely now think he sees Rice as the 8. So I think Zubimendi, Rice and Ødegaard is going to be our midfield next season. I'm not going to write that off and say that's not going to work. But I do have genuine...
It's not bad midfield.
It's not. It's not at all. But I do have genuine concerns about the surgery of our midfield. And I think that midfield balance has been wrong for some time now. I don't know that the striker situation is just the only problem in our side. I think the midfield, certainly this season and some of last season, was a problem. And look, I don't dislike Rice in the 8. It's not my favourite position for him. I do prefer him in the 6. I think he's proven so far that he can actually play that box-to-box role. It'll be interesting to see what it's like alongside Zubimendi, and if he is an upgrade or downgrade on Partey, because I think he's been sensational, Partey, this season. I think he's been incredibly consistent. So Martin Ødegaard is the kind of issue in there for me now. It's the question mark. Is he good enough to drive us forward? And I'm not just talking about with the armband on. I'm talking about technically, he's clearly gifted, but can he drag us across the line? I don't know, mate.
Yep. Real Madrid have gone 2-0 up away at Barcelona with two shots, 2 goals, Kylian Mbappe, a penalty, and then he got a second as well. That closes the gap to 1 point with 3 games to go in La Liga. So imagine this: Real Madrid were having a bad season, and they got to the Copa del Rey final, quarter of the Champions League, and might still win the league. And that's a sackable season for Carlo Ancelotti. So
and Barcelona as well. Well, Flick. I mean, he was on a quad at one stage. If he throws away the league and now the Champions League, he's going to just win the Copa del Rey.
Who won the Spanish Super Cup this year? Do we know?
It's a good question.
Barcelona won it.
They
beat Real Madrid in that final.
So is that and the Copa del Rey then that they're in? Is that right?
They won the Copa del Rey.
And then
they've won the Super Cup.
There we go.
They could win these. They still could come out.
So
with
they could have done a quad, but they're now going to do the double.
I mean,
they call it a double, can they?
A double. I bet there we. Do you know what? I'll take a double.
Yeah,
quite frankly,
I'll take one.
Absolutely, I would absolutely. Hell, I'll take another Community Shield. I am joking. It's not got that desperate yet.
They count though, right? They count. Apparently, our manager said they count. So.
Listen, they do to me because I'm shameless. So
oh, really?
All right, off we... Not massively. Super chat from Carl says Eze should be as much a priority as a striker. Carl, if I agree with that super chat wholeheartedly, if you swap the word Eze with just a number 10. I think we need that kind of player in the squad, because does a striker we sign get that much service right now? That's the other thing I'm worried about.
It's a great shout, James.
Okay, they might put away one of those chances at PSG, but I don't think we are brilliant at controlling midfield, having loads of creativity and flair. So I still think the striker's number 1, but I think it's up there.
I think Eze and an attacking midfielder. Because a lot of people think Eze is a number 10, but he can play left and right.
Yeah, it's true,
So I think if he was starting as our left winger, Eze, and we brought in, I don't know, Morgan Rogers, let's say, who I think would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Imagine that. You've got Morgan Rogers and Eze in the Arsenal side. They're playing for Palace and Villa. It's not like it's an unrealistic target. I know they're going to be a lot of money because of the English tax. But when you look at that, you think, there's 2 options there. If you don't want to go English, Alex Baena over at Villarreal is a very good shout. I think he's a really, really good player. He can play left and a centre attacking midfielder. I think that they're the sort of things we've got to do. This isn't about getting a striker or a winger and then sitting back. There's a lot more positions that we still need to look at, in my opinion.
Couldn't agree more. I think there's 6 at least. Just a reminder of the 11s, the home side, Liverpool with Alisson in goal, Van Dijk, Konate at centre-back with Robertson and Bradley, the fullbacks. Trent Alexander-Arnold is on the bench. Jones is starting with McAllister on the bench. That means Bosley and Gravenberch are in midfield too.
Oh my God, Man United are 2-0 down as well.
Wow. Okay. Kakpo, Salah and Diaz, the front 3. Arsenal do make a few changes, but otherwise still a strong team. David Raya in goal. You're going to see it on the left of your screen very soon, by the way. David Raya in goal. White comes in for Timber, Saliba, Kivior and Lewis Skelly, the rest of the back 4. Mourinho comes into midfield instead of playing up front with Partey and Ødegaard. Rice isn't with the squad, and there's Trossard, Saka and Martinelli as the front 3. All right, we'll be back with you in about 40 minutes or so for the watch on. Big thanks to Marty, big thanks to Dan. Lee Judge will be joining us too. We'll be reacting to every kick of the ball at Anfield. Can Arsenal save a bit of pride? See you soon.